The judge in Trump's hush money trial making the most dramatic warning yet to jail the former president as day 12 of the trial wraps. This morning, Judge Merchan holding Trump in contempt of court for violating a gag order for the 10th time and imposing a $1,000 fine. The judge then bluntly said this: "The last thing I want to consider is jail. You are a former president and possibly the next one." Trump reacting to that while outside the court.
This judge has given me a gag order and said you'll go to jail if you violate it. And frankly, you know what? Our Constitution is much more important than jail. It's not even close. I'll do that sacrifice any day. This is a real threat to our country, and it's a serious threat to the Constitution. And the most important day in the history of our country is going to be November 5th of this year. That's called Election Day. God bless the USA.
And then he turned around. Judge, what do you think of this this morning?
You know, when I heard the judge say that, I said to myself, that's very interesting. He'll never do it. And then when I heard Donald Trump say, go for it, buddy, I thought to myself, the judge is in a pickle right now because he drew a red line. He either follows it or he doesn't. He's either going to be a Joe Biden or Obama. And, you know, the red line comes, goes, doesn't do anything about it. But this is what I think would happen. He would probably want to do something that would somehow confine former President Trump, maybe to his house as opposed to jail. If President Trump goes to Rikers, I'm telling you right now, every felon in there is going to try to get a ballot and vote for him because Donald Trump will go in there and I think impress them because he really is the kind of guy who, like, people respond to. But in the end, look, there is no case here. There is no crime here. This is about the abuse of process. And they haven't touched him this whole trial, from everybody, David Pecker, Davidson the lawyer, Hope Hicks, this guy McConney today. Nobody has connected anything to do with Donald Trump. And it's almost pathetic at this point. And he is, I think what President Trump was saying there is, go for it, buddy. The Constitution's more important. You're going to prove to the country and the world that you are turning this place into a third world country and a kangaroo court. Do it, and you will pay the price. And by the way, the last thing I want to say is the only thing that's been proven beyond a reasonable doubt is that everybody hates Michael Cohen.
That's for sure. Greg, I have a message for the Democrats.
What?
No judge is coming to save them. Like, even if that were to happen, it's not going to save them from a tough election in November.
No, and every time they try to do something to Trump, it just helps him. It reminds me of that cliched scene in every action movie where the hero is tied to a chair in a gritty warehouse, taunted by an armed and lethal enemy. And what does the hero do after getting pistol whipped? He smiles and he spits blood back in the enemy's face. So in that story that I told, who is the hero and who is the abusing enemy? Even if you don't like Trump, you know who the hero is in this, and it's Trump. And I think the judge just mildly endorsed him by saying possibly the next president.
That's right.
I think he did. I hope they do arrest Trump. I hope they put him in jail because that does guarantee that he wins. Please, please, please. This is becoming the greatest third act of any political story, perhaps moving. And by the way, there's this unintentional benefit. I think that America is reaping benefits by shunting all of the Trump derangement people into this small patch called the courtroom drama. It keeps them busy. What's going on? So they're not on the street harassing people in red hats or doxing people. They're just, what's going on? So it keeps them busy. This is their little shiny toy. Meanwhile, and I've said it a million times, I won't say it again, it's focusing and sharpening Trump. He comes out of the gate like a bronco, ready to just roar. And it's working. I mean, man, it's like he's up.
Yeah.
Keep it going.
Should he keep it going?
Well, he kept it going. After court today, he said the judge was a disaster who hates me and wants to extend the trial to keep me off the campaign trail. And then he called Alvin Bragg a disgrace who only brought the case because he was winning in the polls. So I think he's going to go to jail, directly to jail, not pass go, not collect $200. But the stories from jail are going to be amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I saw a cockroach bigger than Rosie O'Donnell. I used my one phone call to call Melania to ask for a conjugal visit. I mean, it's going to be great. But inside the court was a disaster for the prosecution. They put on one of the executives from the Trump organization who said that I was the one that created the structure the timing of these payments. Trump had no idea about the payments. I was the one, the executive said, who said it should be called legal expense. Trump had nothing to do with it and said that they do these things all the time because bad news is bad for business, and he's a businessman. And then when you add that to Pecker's testimony, who said, yeah, we've been doing this for Trump since before he was a candidate, that just sets up that this has nothing to do with politics.
And you add it to Hope Hicks, who said he didn't want Melania to know.
Right.
Case closed.
Harold.
So here's my issue and concern. First, it seems like this is not an issue or concern, but just a frame. He's winning, it appears. I'm not on the jury, but it appears that that no argument is being made persuasively or beyond a reasonable doubt that President Trump was a part of an effort to make a payment to somebody. And until you prove that, you then have to show that's in furtherance of another crime. What strikes me, Judge, and the former prosecutor, Madam Pirro here, that if you were the defendant, you should just shut up and let the trial go on and be acquitted. Now, the second part of this is we have three branches of government, and it's the most unique form of government in the world. It's the best form of government in the world because the three words that describe our system is checks and balances. The legislative, the judicial, and executive. No branch is more important than the other, and each has a unique responsibility. So I'm torn, Judge. When I think about what this judge is doing, you can agree with the judge or not, but he represents the court in this matter. You can say that things should never have been brought, and you may be right or may not be right. But this judge now has a responsibility. And whomever the defendant is, if the defendant repeatedly defies what the court says, then you are basically saying that that branch of government, the judicial branch, is toothless. I don't want to see President Trump go to jail for this purpose, for violating a gag order. And for the life of me, I can't understand why he would challenge that. Now, the third part happens if indeed he violates the gag order more. The rules of the court, our system of governance, our system of government. Does he send the president to jail? I think the judge showed an awareness of what's happening here. I thought his point, Greg, about he could be president. He's a former president, all true, and he could be president is true. But why challenge that? If you're winning this case, even if you were not winning this case, don't challenge. Hear me out for one sec, Judge. I just don't believe you put a judge who is telling you, I don't want to do this, but you're giving me no choice. Now, some are saying, well, he shouldn't be in court. The charges shouldn't have been brought. All of that may be true, but this judge has a job to do, and he represents the judicial branch. One of the three branches in our form of governance, and one of three that makes up the checks and balances. So I hope the former President Trump is not sent to jail. But if he violates what this judge says again, he should be.
Here's the problem. You said earlier you should just shut up and be acquitted. The problem is the man is also running for president. So it's not just about those 12 people on the jury. It's about the fact that he's missing out on the opportunity to go out and campaign. And let me just finish one more thing.
Sure.
And the gag order, he is not gagged from saying anything about Bragg. And the judge made it very clear that he has the right to criticize Bragg.
I didn't say Bragg. I said the court.
And the court as well. He can do that.
No, if you look at, I read it, maybe we read it differently, but my only point is, why not just comply with the order and go forward? That's only my point. Don't put the judge or the court in this position.
Well, Day 13 starts tomorrow. We'll have it on America's Newsroom when the president usually speaks to cameras. And up next, the Trump sweepstakes is ramping.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.